On November 22, 1952, Flight C-124 disappeared abruptly from radar over the Arctic on one of the coldest winter days. The aircraft carried 100 passengers and crew, each with unique stories, ambitions, and aspirations. At 11:47 p.m., the captain sent a final distress call that was interrupted mid-sentence. "We've hit severe turbulence, altitude 5,000 meters, engine 1 and 4 have failed, requesting emergency." The transmission was cut off, leaving behind an enduring and unresolved mystery. 7 search planes and 3 icebreakers spent 450 exhausting hours combing the area, but no trace was found. For 40 years, the mystery remained buried under ice, as if guarded by nature itself, until January 2014, when a military satellite accidentally detected a metal object hidden in the Arctic Circle's ice. Alarming satellite images revealed an unnatural shape within the ice, raising doubts about the anomaly's natural origin. Dr. James Moore had been preparing for this expedition for many years. Every day of his life was devoted to one goal: finding Flight C-124. His team consisted of the elite of polar researchers: Sarah Collins, a meteorologist with 20 years of experience in polar regions and special training at NASA; Tom Thornton, a former aviation accident investigator from the NTSB with Antarctic experience; Grace Rasmussen, a forensic expert famous for solving the ice mummy case in Greenland; and Mike Walsh, a retired Navy SEAL with 10 years of Arctic missions. These individuals were surrounded by legends and whispers of their abilities. Some said they could survive even on the moon if needed. 12 technicians, 3 doctors, and a team of ice experts became part of the core group. Together, they formed a flawlessly synchronized unit for the most demanding journey of their lives. Every member was not only skilled, but also a trailblazer prepared to confront the uncharted and the extraordinary. The team delivered 90 tons of gear to the alleged crash site using 3 C-130 transport aircraft. With military-level efficiency, they established the camp. 6 insulated living units were put in place within 18 hours. 3 satellite antennas were assembled, and 2 200-kilowatt diesel generators were activated. The technical setup seemed capable of withstanding the harshest conditions of the Arctic wilderness. The cold penetrated every metal component as if testing whether the equipment could function in the kingdom of eternal ice. 4 reconnaissance drones, equipped with experimental deep-scanning radars, created a detailed 3D map of a 5-square-kilometer ice field in the first 48 hours. During rare moments of rest, the drone operators exchanged grim looks, fully aware that a scene of real tragedy lay beneath the ice. At dawn, on the 3rd day, weather conditions became a true test. Thermometers showed minus 40 degrees Celsius. The wind strengthened to 15 meters per second, and visibility dropped to 200 meters. It seemed as though the Arctic itself resisted human intrusion, erecting insurmountable barriers. Early that morning, a drone operator spotted the first signs of a metallic structure. Soon, the ground team reached the designated point and saw the tail of the plane protruding from the ice at a 40-degree angle. Radar scans revealed the fuselage extended 27 meters into the ice. The extraction of the plane was an extraordinary engineering achievement. A specialized controlled thawing system, known as the TS-4000, was utilized for the task. 20 thermal units were strategically positioned around the excavation area, melting ice at a speed of 3 centimeters per hour. Every 15 minutes, a computer recalculated the stress on the ice structure to ensure precision and safety. 8 hydraulic supports held the walls to prevent collapse. It was not just a technical operation, but a true battle between humans and the Arctic elements. When the ice cracked, the sound was like thunder, and everyone's heart froze at the thought of a possible disaster. After several hours, the first team of researchers entered the aircraft through the emergency exit above the left wing. The cabin temperature was 38 degrees, turning the interior into a perfectly preserved time capsule. Each researcher was equipped with utmost precaution: 2 oxygen tanks and the latest generation thermal imaging cameras, resembling astronauts landing on an unexplored planet. Along the aisle lay fragments of bags and gloves, as if someone had desperately tried to cling to fading hope. The next discoveries left the team paralyzed with emotion: frozen cups of coffee on tray tables, as if time had stopped at the moment of the crash; open magazines on seats, their pages frozen in eternal stillness; a child's doll lying in the aisle between seats 32D and 32E, a silent witness to the tragedy. One of the engineers felt deeply moved when he noticed a children's book lying open, displaying simple drawings of suns and houses. At that moment, he was immediately reminded of his own daughter. In the forward section, traces of a desperate fight for survival were uncovered. In the business class cabin, passengers had constructed an improvised shelter with 47 life jackets and 12 suitcases, an extraordinary display of human resourcefulness in the face of certain death. A calendar with marked dates was found on a bulkhead, the last entry reading November 22, 1952. A diary belonging to flight attendant Mary Parker, discovered in seat 14A, contained detailed accounts of the first 18 days after the crash, a chronicle of courage and despair. The diary revealed that of the 150 people on board, only 68 survived the first night. Captain David Harrison established strict rationing: 100 grams of food and 200 milliliters of water per person per day. Flight Dr. John Mitchell provided first aid to 23 injured people using 6 first aid kits and improvised materials. Every bandage and medication could mean the difference between life and death. The diary described how, at 50 each, even a small scratch could become a dangerous wound, and a single drop of water spilled on clothing could be a death sentence. The expedition's work was suddenly interrupted by the loud crack of ice. Scanners detected the movement of a large object near the excavation site. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. Amid the thick blizzard, the team spotted a massive polar bear towering nearly 3 meters high, a true giant of the Arctic. Trailing behind her were 2 cubs, each as large as a fully grown wolf. Robert Walsh immediately activated 4 acoustic deterrents tuned to a frequency of 35 hertz. However, the bears behaved unexpectedly. The female carefully examined the edges of the excavation site, sniffing each piece of new equipment with a mix of cautiousness and curiosity. The older cub was especially intrigued by the generators, approaching them quite closely. The younger cub lingered further back, watching the humans intently from a nearby ice ridge, resembling a little scout observing unfamiliar visitors. When a camera flash illuminated the cub's face, it simply blinked, took a few hesitant steps, and then froze again, watching the uninvited guests. Meanwhile, the scientific expedition continued its tense work. On the 12th day of excavations, the team finally reached the cargo hold. Temperatures had dropped to 53 degrees, causing failures in 2 main hydraulic systems. Late in the evening, an 80-ton ice slab suddenly shifted. The ice cracked with a terrifying roar, nearly swallowing one of the rescuers, but the team managed to pull him out by his hood. However, 6 people were trapped between unstable ice walls and open space. At this pivotal moment, the bear, still lingering nearby, guided her cubs away, opening a path for the team to escape, almost as if a profound natural instinct had acted with greater precision than any human plan. The black box was eventually discovered at a depth of 25 meters. Despite significant damage to its outer casing, the data recorder remained largely intact. The decrypted recordings unveiled a harrowing account of the flight's final moments. At 11:30 p.m., the plane entered a zone of extreme turbulence, with external temperatures dropping to 64 degrees Celsius, causing instant engine icing. The data allowed experts to reconstruct the last minutes of the flight. On the day of the crash, the plane encountered an extreme jet stream with temperatures near 60 degrees. The failure was attributed to engine icing, combined with the excessive load at an altitude of 10,000 meters, which made recovery unfeasible. The pilots attempted to regain control of the aircraft, but turbulent conditions led to an aerodynamic stall, leaving no chance of survival. Experts determined that extraordinary weather patterns in December 1952, such as abrupt temperature declines and intense air currents, were significant factors contributing to the tragedy. Over the course of 3 weeks, the research team encountered 14 major technical issues. In the extreme cold, standard equipment often failed to function. Engineers had to practically reinvent the machinery. Modifying generators, installing 8 additional thermal insulation screens, and improving the heating system for hydraulic fluid, which consumed 40% of all generated energy. Every kilowatt was precious. The encounter with the polar bear family compelled the team to make drastic changes to their safety protocols. 12 infrared cameras were positioned around the camp's perimeter, while 3 thermal imaging devices provided 24/7 monitoring of any animal activity. Robert Walsh devised a signaling system. A single whistle alerted the team to an approaching bear, while a double whistle ordered an immediate cessation of all work. Every action was calculated down to the millimeter. Late at night, when the wind fell to an eerie silence, the team stared into the white void, trying to detect the shadow of the curious mother bear sliding across the ice. In the expedition's final week, the bear's behavior puzzled the researchers. The mother started bringing her cubs closer to the camp, spending several hours, around 3 to 4, watching the team's activities. The older cub had figured out a safe path through the area around the generators, moving calmly without disturbing the technicians. Cameras captured several instances where the bears appeared to help identify dangerous ice sections, acting like silent guides through the polar expanse. At times, it even seemed that the bears were somehow connected to the tragedy of Flight C-124, silently pointing out the dangers hidden in the eternal ice. Before their departure, the team collected an enormous amount of data: 850 high-resolution photographs, 160 hours of video footage, and 1,500 terabytes of information from sensors and radars. The black box contained 2 hours and 18 minutes of cockpit recordings and technical data. Diaries and personal belongings of the passengers filled 24 specialized containers, each one a time capsule preserving the memory of human lives. On the final morning, with the temperature plunging to an incredible minus 58 degrees Celsius, something inexplicable happened. The mother bear led her cubs close to the main module. For 2 hours, they observed the equipment being loaded, still wary, yet displaying no aggression. Shortly after lunch, helicopters arrived to begin the team's evacuation. The last glance at the excavation site revealed a striking image. 3 white figures stood on the edge. The bears bidding farewell to the uninvited guests who had disturbed their 40-year solitude. Dr. Landon couldn't shake the strange feeling that they were not just researchers but unwilling participants in an ancient Arctic drama. The investigation into Flight C-124 made a significant contribution to understanding the dangers of flying in extreme latitudes. The results of the expedition prompted a revision of aircraft operating protocols in polar regions. Technologies developed from the data retrieved from the flight are expected to prevent numerous accidents in the coming decades. Did you enjoy this story? Do you enjoy traveling by air, or Do you find it too frightening? If so, why? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. The mystery of the flight was solved, but who knows how many more secrets still lie hidden in these icy lands. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.